Good morning, Flint. This is September 6th, 2014. This is my program, Flint Citizens Committee on Governance. It's a program now. It's going to be an on-the-street action group later. The topic today is, where's all the money gone? And here's what I posted. We have let the multinational corporations dictate the money available to our U.S. government to run programs, to fund its programs, which help us. Who are these multinational corporations? Well, they're the American rich. They are organized groups representing business interests that have substantial independent impacts on federal decision making, while the interest of the average American appears to have only a minuscule statistical non-significant impact. That's out of a recent issue of the Rolling Stone, as is a lot of this, page 37. We politically march like lemons, cheered on by media that has regressed backwards, becoming a trusting pre-puberty fourth estate, trusting yet deceived by those who we elect to defend our interests. It only leads this march. The media doesn't guide us. It just gets out in front, and they're just a bunch of cheerleaders. Listen to how that sounds wacky, though. Lefty stuff, you know? Whenever you go against the Fox News image, you're a left-wing radical. But that's not it. There's people though with money that have figured out how to keep their money and how to make more, and they're taking it from us. They're taking what traditionally has been a tax base to fund this stuff, okay, to make this country sustain. And while they're doing this, they basically leave. They create multinational corporations. They buy another company, and if that company's 20% now of their base somehow, they can relocate to the country that other company has its origin. And as luck would have it, they are often tax-free zones. So listen to the cry of people for tax reform. What if they are right? What if their messages based on a core belief in democracy that's adopted by many of us? What do we have then if the 1%, that's what they are, the rich folk, ramp this up and take it over even more? Will we have a government by the few, not of the many, which possibly we are already there? Will it be a government in which a small group exercises control for selfish, corrupt purposes? More wacko stuff, okay? But you go to Webster's, that's the definition of oligarchy. We are civically ignorant because our rank and file in the U.S. citizens, the 90%, do not understand, listen to this, capitalism is not democracy. Okay, got it? That misses a lot of people. Why? Capitalism cannot be a legitimate governing system because it is singularly dedicated to amassing wealth as an end in itself. It is unsentimentally trusting in nothing that it cannot weigh and measure. Not in the spirit of Bobby Kennedy, the joy of our children's play, our art, or the strength of our health, or our opportunity to redress our grievances. In short, none of the other dimensions of life that a democracy was intended to serve are there. So where do you stand on the scale between capitalistic, I call it Fox News thinking, and democracy? I hope you're for democracy. America is caught in a period of time where this oligarchy, the rule of the rich, is just coming into play. Political money is free speech, according to the court, effectively giving more of it to the rich than to you and me. But wealth is also stratified. That Thomas Piketty, a much heralded French economist, believes that this inequality in itself is a direct threat to democracy. So, as rich get richer, there's more inequality, and it's threatening democracy. Holders of economic wealth have ultimately gained dominant political power and have welded it to preserve their riches from the larger population. For the super rich, then, democracy is not a virtue. So where to start? I know the Wall Street Democrats in the White House and Congress must be re-educated or replace the liberals. I'm a liberal, and I think we're clueless sometimes. I don't run from this term. But we need to build a movement around leaders like Senator Elizabeth Warren, Jeff Merkley, and others of that kind. We need to promote a trickle-up economic populism for the 9-to-5 workers. okay, of every color, sex, and religion. Not this trickle-down nonsense. We must oppose corporate tax breaks. That's a place to start. You're not going to change that without a lot of politics. Until that day comes, we'll be living with the new tax policy of the multi-corporations, wealthy rich Americans that bought and paid for. And that's who they are. Rich Americans have just moved their stuff offshore. They're still here. The money comes back, but now it can't be taxed. Gee. We must call for ending tax breaks for companies that ship jobs overseas, shorthand for repealing tax referrals on offshore corporate profits. We have a broken tax system which has to be fixed. It's been well written by the lobbyists that represent the rich. Does that sound wacky? We need resources to protect the interests of Americans with a minimum series of thresholds. Minimum health care, minimum wages, minimum education. The resources lost are within sight and only have recently been stolen from us. By ending tax deferral and making schemes of offshore U.S. profits moot, we will then stop the bleeding of the American tax dollars by the rich. There are more than $2 trillion in U.S.-based multinational profits currently sitting in offshore accounts, representing $500 million in unpaid taxes. $500 million. If that money were deposited in a federal coffer tomorrow, it would wipe out the deficit for 2014. If oligarchy wins, democracy dies. I think we should be for tax reform. What do you think?